Hello, ladies. I'm Marakita, and I'm so happy to be here with you all. I'm excited to have Julie Lachtay here with me. She's a Theta Healer, and we've got an amazing conversation coming up. So let us know who's watching and welcome. Let us know where you're watching from and post that in the comments, and any questions you have about our conversation today. And if you're watching on the replay, we want to know also. Because we're here to answer your questions. Julie's had an amazing life. She's really turned her life around. She took back the power that she thought was lost as she was homeless, penniless, and just pretty much destitute. And now look at her. I'm so excited to have her here and to tell her story. So Julie, tell us a little bit about yourself. And you're a Theta Healer.
Yes.
And just tell us about you, because you can do yourself more justice than I can. I'm excited, but I don't know everything, you know.
I was laughing that you said this is going to be a really fun conversation. So Julie was homeless and destitute. On the fun, where shall we start?
I think I jumped to the end of it, to the end of your life, or to the end of this present
moment. Long for we'll go kick some street cats just for fun. No, so I'll try and condense my story into a shorter and less dramatic version. So yes, essentially I grew up, not unlike a lot of people, in a very dysfunctional family in a very small town. I grew up in one of those places where it was expected that you would be pregnant and married by the time you were 18, not necessarily in that order, and you would stay there and have children and be there until you died. And I grew up in a port, and I can remember going to the careers officer, and she said, "What do you want to do?" And there were two options. So I could go and work on the boats in the port, or I could work in the factory where they sewed the uniforms for the people that worked on the boats in the port. And I said, "But I want to go and travel the world and see elephants and have adventures." And she went, "But realistically, which of these two jobs do you want to do?" And I didn't want to do either of those. So I got a job, moved to London, got a job as a nanny. I was very lucky. I worked for the most gorgeous family you can imagine. Like really, a year ago when I was back in London, I went to stay with them. They're still like family. And I discovered at some point, you know, like a lot of people in their 20s and 30s, they go out and they have adventures and they party. And I partied hard. I do all the things you're told not to do. Still alive. Don't stress. And I did in that thing where you go off and have adventures to find yourself. And I crossed Africa and Asia and all the other fun stuff. And then I had my first complete breakdown when I was living the dream, allegedly. So I had finished university, having been told I would never amount to anything and I could never study. And I am very stubborn. The minute you tell me you can't do this, it's like, you want to bet? And sorry, my story skips because I'm dyslexic. I should explain this. My mind works like this. So I got to a point where, you know, as much as I loved being a nanny, I was really bored with it. Wanted to go and do something else. And every time I went for an interview, no matter what it was, people would say, "Oh, you're a nanny. Oh, that's cute. You play with children." And this really patronizing tone that suggested, "You're thick as shit. You play with toys all day." So I decided I would go and get a degree to prove I could. And I started studying psychology. And I very quickly found out psychology is based on statistics. Numbers and maths were never my strong point. I discovered during the first year of that, when I was tested, that I got the full dyslexia spectrum. Yay me, I don't know anything by halves. So dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, got the lot. And when you're trying to study university level statistics and you can't put 1 + 1 = on a calculator, that is not going to work. So I switched my degree, proved everyone wrong, got a first class kick-ass degree, got the highest grade in my university, and handed in my dissertation and literally got on a plane 2 days later to go and live in Thailand on the beach, teach English, live the dream. was like, finally made it. I always figured that when I was in the right place with the right job, living on the right beach, then I'd be happy. And that was when I had my complete and utter first entire breakdown, which is when I started to realize, like many people, I wasn't traveling to find myself. I was traveling to get away from myself, because everything that was wrong in my life that I hid was essentially coming from me. And you can run away from anything, but you can't run away from yourself. I know, because I tried really hard for years, and wherever you go, you're still there. And at one point, I had a week off school, so I had nowhere to go. I lived in a town where there was literally nothing to do. On a Saturday night, the teenagers hung out in the 7-Eleven.
Oh, gosh. I remember those days. That is so funny.
Yeah. I couldn't even walk anywhere. I lived in this really dark house. I was shuttered in. And I suddenly realized that I had been crying for 4 days solid. I'm not a big crier. Like adverts and movies, I bawl. I've been asked to leave cinemas because I cry so loudly people can't hear. Literally, I was banished from a cinema in London because I cried so hard in Titanic, I was asked to leave the building. But I don't really cry. Like, I'm not that kind of person. And I realized that I'd cried for 4 days. I'd fallen asleep crying, I'd woken up crying, I couldn't stop. And there was a moment where I just remember thinking, I've lost it. Like, I'm literally batshit crazy now. This is not who I am. And luckily I had a moment of clarity, and I managed to get to a nearby psychiatric hospital. It was near the islands, so they're used to foreigners going there and getting really messed up on loads of drugs and alcohol and having psychotic episodes. So there's a very well-established clinic. And I somehow managed to get myself there. And again, I turned up and I was just a sobbing wreck. I spoke to a lovely doctor. He gave me something that calmed me down. Managed to have enough of a conversation with me to see that things were very, very bad, that I was severely depressed. They wanted to keep me in the psychiatric unit, but I wasn't financially in a place where I could afford all the fees. So they allowed me to leave on the understanding that I stayed really close by, that I was somewhere where I could go back twice a week. And because I was considered to be at very high risk of suicide, I had to have a nurse call me every hour on the hour to speak to them to make sure that I was still alive. And it was at that point, when the sort of meds started kicking in, that I realized that I needed to do something, and I wasn't going to get the help I needed in Thailand. And I'm nothing if I'm not resourceful. So I somehow persuaded someone to give me, in my completely depressed, panic attack stricken state, to give me a job as an au pair in London and pay for my flight back to England. And I thought, woohoo, from here everything will get better. Except it was the worst damn nanny job in the whole world. So I got worse and worse and worse until I did eventually attempt suicide, thankfully failed, which is how I ended up homeless as well. And yes, completely penniless and destitute, which is not something I recommend. But it is an amazing learning curve. And, you always say to people, like, everything is a choice. And for me, depression and anxiety was a choice. And I can remember someone saying that to me when I was sort of stable and thinking, well, you're just hateful. You're just mean and horrible. Do you really think I'm choosing to live like this? And then as I came out of that, I could see why. So if anyone's been in that place, and that sounds really hateful, if you think about how difficult life is being an adult, if you think about how many decisions and choices you feel that you have to make every day. And, I left home at 15. I spent 30 years working as a nanny. I spent my whole life taking care of myself, taking care of other people, making a million decisions and choices, being responsible for everything. And I was just exhausted. And being depressed, having anxiety, it's just like your get out of jail free card. Suddenly, I was in a homeless shelter. I didn't have to pay for anything. I didn't have to do anything. No one expected anything from me. No one cared if I got up, if I ate, if I slept, if I showered, if I brushed my teeth. no one cared. So it was just this completely free space that I'm really grateful for, because that gave me the opportunity to have that space, to see that everything was coming from me, and to very clearly be able to look around at the other people that were in this space and think, I am not going to be that person in 6 months. Like I didn't want to end up as a sex worker or a crack addict or a sociopath or any of those things. And I was like, that's not who I really am. I started volunteering from some amazing organizations in London. So I started working with people living with HIV, which was incredible. And I got to, one of the things I did for one of the charities was I helped people get access to grants and trusts to help them if they had no right to benefits. And I would listen to their stories. And there was this moment where I thought, you know, these people have real serious problems, and they're happy and they're content and they're doing something. And essentially, I'm just a miserable cow, and I've got to get over myself because it's boring now. And literally my own boredom, I should say, my own stubbornness. One day I'll get through a whole life without doing that. Yeah, basically was the kickstart to get over it. So it got to the point where I was stable, I was coping brilliantly. So I was housed, everything was going well. And then I realized one day things were just still like, And I didn't leave home at 15 and escape getting pregnant and married at 17 for my life to do that. So I started discovering things like the law of attraction and learning about how your thoughts create your reality. And as I said, when I first heard that, I thought, that's ridiculous. That can't be true. And then it was like suddenly these conversations would play in my head about all the times I said to people, it's not my fault. I'm just cursed. I'm just so unlucky. Everything that can possibly happen to me just happens to me. And I think the thing that really shifted it for me, I suddenly had this really vivid conversation that I'd forgotten about or blocked, that I'd had with a friend before I'd gone to Thailand to teach. And she said, what will you do if that doesn't work? And I remember saying to her, you know, I'll probably just kill myself because I'm exhausted now. Nothing else will work. And I thought, look at that. I literally thought myself into that reality. I'm so brilliant at manifesting and creating my world. I created a world that was so miserable I wanted to kill myself. Wow. And at that point, I thought, well, if I can do that, I can do the opposite. So I became really aware of all the times I said, oh, I can't do that. I was like, well, who told me that? When did I start believing that bullshit? And things got a whole lot better. I started meditating and things got better and better, but I was still stuck with certain things. And then because the universe always steps up when you're ready and when you need something. And I was sitting at home one day scrolling on Facebook. Don't know if anyone's ever done that before. I don't know if you can relate to that. And this event popped up and said, we invite you to a Theta Healing meditation and sound bath. And I thought, no idea what that is, but that sounds fab. I'm going to that. And if you've never been to a sound bath, I highly recommend you get yourself to one or find one on YouTube because they're amazing. So there's this blissful hour-long sound bath that left me relaxed and amazed, and I was open for everything. And then Anna Kitney, who's the head of Bourgeon, who's the most popular and well-known theta healing establishment in the UK, was giving the talk, and she was explaining about theta healing, and she was saying how our thoughts create our reality, and we have all these limiting beliefs, and we store them in our souls and our bodies and our chakras, and we store them from past lives and from our ancestors. And I was looking at her thinking, what a load of shit. Do people really believe all this stuff? Because I was raised atheist and I was committed to that and skeptical, and I'm like, literally thinking, these people are crazy. I need to find a way to get out of here before I get sucked in. But then she started the meditation, and it's really beautiful. And if you'd like me to, I'm happy to drop a link because I have a recording of it that anyone can have and then they can use. And I got into that theta state, which is just pure bliss. It is the pure state of meditation you can get into. This is where the term theta healing comes from. because when I'm in that space, it allows me to connect with source and do whatever magic happens. I don't know how to explain that. So I was there all blissful, still skeptical, but blissful. And then she started saying how a lot of people in the room had had past lives as healers, and they had blocked that knowledge, that power, and that understanding to keep themselves safe, because within their DNA and their energy, they carried memories of times in past lives where they'd been tortured and imprisoned and shot and killed. And it still happens now. And as she said that, I started getting goosebumps, and I could suddenly feel with every fiber of my being that I'd been killed in every one of those ways. It's like I could see my lives on a screen in front of me. And I thought, okay, there might be something to this, but I'm still really stubborn and I'm not convinced. So I waited until the session was finished. I went to speak to Anna. She introduced me to another Theta healer. I arranged to have a couple of sessions with him. And I think on my second session, he said, you could do this. And I said, oh, no, I can't. He said, yes, you can, because you're very intuitive. I went, no, I'm really not. And he said, you're very psychic. I was like, no, I'm not. It's like, Samantha the witch was psychic. I can't do any of that stuff. And he said, then you're an empath. And I said, no, I'm not. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, you know what people are feeling. And I was like, yes. He said, just by walking past someone, you know what they're feeling, don't you? And I was like, well, yes. And that was at that moment where he said, you think everyone can do that? I was like, well, yes. And he said, no. And suddenly so much of my life shifted, because I realized my whole life, anything I could do, I thought, well, I'm nothing special. If I can do it, anyone can. So it never occurred to me that I could do things that other people couldn't. I remembered all these situations where I've been with friends, and I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Do you not know that lady over there was breaking her heart because her boyfriend left her, and you're just jibber-jabbering? And they would look at me like I was crazy, because I didn't know that they didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, yes, so very short version. Not long after that, I started doing my training. I did my Theta training, and yeah, I found in my first day, I was saying, oh, but I can see this and I can do this and this and this. And my teacher would look at me and say, well, no, you're not meant to be able to do that yet. So apparently in my basic class, I was doing things that you're not meant to know how to do for 5 or 6 courses. And I don't know if I've mentioned that I'm quite stubborn, but I only did my basic and advanced course to date, because every time I think about doing another course and I tune into it and ask creator, I just get told you already know how to do that. And the more I surrender to that, the more I trust in the process, the more I find things open up. And I don't just tell people that they need healing. It's an ongoing process. I receive healing probably more than I give it still. And the other weekend, I worked with an amazing healer. I don't know where she gets her stamina. I had 2 sessions with her altogether, ran for about 8 hours. She found and cleared deeper levels of fear I had around my own powers. And one of the things we're always taught when we first start healing is that when people come to you, whenever someone says, I know exactly what my problem is, it's like, yeah, you don't. Because our unconscious stores the most crazy, nonsensical things that we could never begin to come up with unless you could find them. And she found that I had the belief stored somewhere in my energy that if I let out all my gifts and all my talents, that I would be so powerful. I would be as powerful as God, at which point God would basically step down and offer me the job. And I was like, no, I don't need that. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want that responsibility. No, not doing it. So I'd shut down a lot of that. So once she cleared that and taught every part of my being that it was safe for me to open up all my powers and gifts without having to become God, no ego at all. And then literally the next day I was giving her healing, and I did psychic surgery and found a metal implant in her body that I lasered away with energy and my mind somehow. I have no idea how I did that, so please don't ask me. I'm still a bit freaked out by that, but it happened. And yeah, I cleared something for her. So that was the very, very short version. I was trying to get through it. So if anyone has any questions or if there's anything you want to ask me, that we have plenty of time for that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Your whole story is amazing. And I know what you mean about the energy healing, because I had shifts that I can't explain either. I mean, with the energy healers, like things changed. Things were just zapped out of my memory, like I don't even know how to explain it. Things that are unexplainable happened. And I know it was from the energy healing, but I love the way that you said you weren't even aware of your superpowers because they were so natural to you. What we a lot of times have are the superpowers, and we just see them as regular old occurrences. They're just part of us. But then other people see them as, wow, that's amazing. And we're like, what do you mean? Everybody has that, just like you said. And that's very true, and I love the way you also said about how well, about manifesting. You had manifested, you were a powerful creator. You had created that past life of like, you can't get anything done right, you're not, all of that, you created that. And so that was the shift of awareness. Well, look at, I created this, so now I can create something different. Now I can bring in, with the way you create it was with your thoughts and your language. So that awareness now that I did so great at creating, now let me create the right thing, The
whole Star Wars thing, you can choose the dark force or the light force. The light is much easier. It's a lot more fun. It gets you a lot further. But it's a process. It's still ongoing. I've had people say to me, "Oh, I tried energy healing once and it didn't work." I said, I washed my hair with really crap shampoo once and that didn't work. But it doesn't mean I stopped washing my hair, and some things take longer and longer. And as I mentioned earlier, just from having that conversation with you, we're constantly getting awareness about myself and the lies we tell ourselves. And I said to you, I'm okay doing this live, but I don't like speaking to people. And I was like, well, that's nuts, because it's exactly the same thing. And it's actually much easier talking to you than, if you're doing a live where you're essentially just like talking to yourself and you're like this, trying to work out if you're in the right spot. But, again, and if anyone's watching this thinking, oh, but I could never do that. I could never do a live. I could never show up. Again, it's just what you're telling yourself. And I totally get that. I think it was maybe 3 years ago. I was in a marketing group trying to learn how to expand my business and my Facebook community. And someone said, okay, I'm going to challenge you to do a live every day for 30 days. And I think I made 2 days. And I think on the second one, I was actually shaking. So just like, no, I can't do it. People can see me. They want them to see me. And it was just awful. But then at some point, I realized that they were just more lies I was telling myself. And I could choose to let go of that and not buy into it. And I can actually, because we have time, I know you asked if I could do a meditation. What I can do, which I think might be more productive right now, is I think so many of us are taught to think about things. And if you need to make a decision, well, you go away and think about that. So I would invite you to never, ever go away and think about it. Because if you're thinking, you're in your head, you're in your ego, you only have a limited amount of imagination. And we've been taught that this is good and this is bad and this is wrong and this is right and this is acceptable and this is not. And that's all bullshit. So I'd invite you all to get rid of all of that and to learn how to tune into your body to get the answer that's right for you. And there's a very, very simple way of doing this. And I'm going to take you through it if I can.
Great.
So it's quite simple. So all I'd ask you to do is to close your eyes, just be really present in your body, and think of something that you really love doing, or think of someone that you really love, that you love spending time with. So for me, that's always, imagine myself lying on a really beautiful sandy beach and the sun's on my body and there's a beautiful breeze and the birds are singing. And there's a really hot waiter that looks like Jason Momoa handing me endless Prosecco. This magic Prosecco so I never get a hangover. And just feel that for a moment and feel how that feels in your body and notice where you feel it. So you might feel tingly in your chest. You might feel, I don't know, sparkle in your shoulders. You might feel butterflies in your tummy. Whatever that is, that's what's right for you. That's a good feeling. That's a good choice. So now if you forget that, and if you think about something that fills you with dread, so it might be, for me, it's like the idea of going to the dentist. Like, I don't love that. That feels completely different in your body. That whole energy of that feels different. And it really is that simple. You get to recognize what feels good in your body and what feels not so good in your body, what feels heavy, what feels light. So if you're faced with that decision, so it might be, for example, you have 2 job interviews, and it might be that one's like it's got the most money and it's closest to home and it has the best holidays, but something about it doesn't feel right. But your ego mind is going, but it's more money and less holidays and it's close to home. So obviously that's right. But something in your body just doesn't feel right. And then there's the other job. We think, well, it's less money and it's further away. But for whatever reason, when you think about that, it lights you up. Ignore the reasons and follow your heart, because it might be that job with the most money and closest to home. It might be that your colleagues are assholes. It might be that you never really get a day off because you're always getting emails out of hours. It might be for a company that on the side is really unethical and goes out of business in 3 months, where the other job that on paper might not feel amazing. You might have amazing colleagues. They might be your soul family. You might get to work with people that really inspire you and lift you up and allow you to be yourself. So that's what you want to do. You just always follow the feeling in your heart and get out of the habit of thinking, because I believe that nothing ever good comes from thinking.
Well, that's a very good exercise, because our bodies will tell us, a lot of times we don't listen to our bodies. Like, we date someone that's not right for us and we have that sinking feeling like, oh no, it's not going to go right. And now, because it's not going to go right, I'm going to try to control it. I'm going to try to switch things, do this and that. And it's not about that, So we got some really good comments here. Can you see the comments?
I can't see anything, no.
Okay. Well, so Malu was saying, she said hello. And she was,
because I was in private chat.
Huh? Oh, okay. You see him now?
I'm an energy healer, not a tech whiz. Well, I hadn't noticed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was saying about dyslexia as a superpower, which is true. It's just a different way of looking at things. So
it is. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday here whose boyfriend he's considered to have ADHD. And I was saying, I think it's really time that we let go of all those labels and just accept that it's that right and wrongness. And it's the same as you have Android and iPhones. One's not right or wrong, that some of us just operate in different systems. We're just programmed in different ways. And when we let go of that ADHD and Asperger's and dyslexia, whatever, we just think and run differently, but we all still have our own magic and superpowers. We can all still do amazing things. It's like, yeah.
You're right. Those labels can cripple us. I think it was Deepak Chopra that said, what did he say? Accept the diagnosis, but not the prognosis. I mean, you can accept that, but not, like, they say you've got cancer. Okay, so I got something called cancer, whatever, but I'm not going to die. Only 1% live. Okay, well, now I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Well, no. Why can't you be the 1%? Forget it, But yeah, stepping away from labels is powerful, because it's so freeing. Because once we have a label, like, oh, well, I've got cancer now. Well, now I better go get ready to go head to the grave. But what you have is your body saying that maybe the food you're putting into it isn't serving it. Maybe you're not giving it enough exercise. So let's switch it up. So yeah, my body's saying, you can call it cancer, and I can say my body's asking for something different, right? So now let me serve my body. So yeah.
And something I heard today, which was really interesting. So I've been doing a Christy Marie Sheldon course, and she's saying, especially with eating, so there's a very different energy between, say, eating the big chocolate brownie covered with ice cream and eating it, hating yourself and feeling really guilty, and filling yourself with self-loathing and eating it, saying, this is going to be really bad for me, I shouldn't be eating this, and eat it and going, this is bloody gorgeous, I love this, it's making me really happy, and I don't care about the sugar, it's just yum. And she says, if you eat like that, people talk about eating mindfully. She said, if you eat with the energy of you're just really enjoying what you're eating and you're not buying into anything else, again, that's a huge difference in the way you react to it.
Yeah, because even when you said that, I felt it like in my stomach, like the pit of my stomach, like, oh God, I feel guilty, but yeah, you're right. Exactly. And then, well, there's a lot of comments here from Malou. And then someone else said, I don't know who it was, said, thank you for sharing, and she wants the link that you were talking about.
Yes, I will.
And what else? And she said, it's such a great thing that you stepped into your true self and meaning. Always follow the feeling in your heart. I love this. And stepping
so when I said earlier, I have this document with all my links in.
Oh yeah,
I have everything but that link in. So if I put that here, will it stay here if I can find that?
We'll put it in afterwards. Once it's posted, we can put all those links because we want everybody to be able to find you. Well, we're going to wrap this up in a second, but I just wanted to look at what else Malou said. This is probably the healthiest view that I've ever heard of anyone have on their own depression.
Thank you. Well, it took a long time to get there. I said, honestly, the first time someone said to me, but you're choosing depression, I kind of wanted to punch him in the face for being such a mean asshole and not understanding all the pain and the trouble I was going through. And I'm not dismissing that, like I was in untold pain and trauma, and it was hell, but I was choosing it. But I had to come out of it before I could look back and see that and see why it was serving me.
Yes. Awareness. That's the key. Awareness and skills. So many times we think it's character flaws, but it's the behavior. What behavior can we change? It's not right. Switch up. You do a whole switch, to have a whole new life. You can't, you got to keep your eye on the goal. You can't just do it halfway. You're not going to get anywhere. It's got to be a big shift like you did, that awareness. Maybe you got to end up homeless. And then you see homeless.
Well, no, let's put that out. It's not necessary to become homeless.
You don't have to. Ladies, don't go out there.
I highly suggest that you don't become homeless to find yourself. Actually, I know we're running short of time. One of the things I did want to say, because I see this a lot and it makes me really uncomfortable, I see a lot of people talking about good stress and how worrying is good for you sometimes because it motivates you. Can we just stop that and acknowledge that that's bullshit and that's just what we've been taught? And that actually you can use your own joy and happiness and fulfillment as motivation and inspiration. And as you're reasoning for keep going and pushing through something, you actually don't need to go into relying on stress and worry to motivate you or to help you step up and keep to your deadlines. Because when you do that, you destroy your adrenal glands, you flood your body with stress hormones and chemicals. Really, if you could see what I see in people's bodies, the amount of stress, especially now with all the craziness out there, and you're picking up on the collective stress and fear and worries, and so many people's bodies are just in fight or flight because they don't know what else to do. It's like,
yes. You're right. And then Malou said that, yes, let's please stop the stress is good talk. And what's funny is I haven't heard much of that, but I have this thing, it's called stress release, this lotion. And I just got, this is a new bottle, but usually I mark out the word stress because just seeing the word stress makes you feel stressed. So I don't want, it's funny that it should be saying something like calming, bringing calm or something. You know what I mean? But definitely, I know you all's point on that. Let's stop that talk. Let's work from a place of power. And like stress is not a place of power. You can't create from that place. That's weak. That's weakening. Like you're saying, if we're in stress, our bodies shut down. We can't grow. We can't create. So let's work from love and have that as the foundation. Love for ourselves, right? Definitely. To uplift our lives. So that there's the shift.
And in Theta, I know, as it may be in all modalities, but in Theta healing, we very much believe that any physical symptoms in the body, any physical illness, are signs that, what you're thinking or feeling, creating yourself is wrong. It's a dis-ease thing,
Oh,
disease
yeah.
is dis-ease. So it's like if your body is like, look, your mind's not listening, so my body's going to shut down, because you've got to do something to get your attention. So quite often, if you address what you're thinking and feeling, that alone will clear your physical symptoms.
That's
Because it's
true.
really
Right.
your body trying to get your attention.
And your body has to get rid of it, when we're thinking, like if all those thoughts and negative stuff, it's got to come out somewhere. We're putting it in. Your body's got to release it. It can be released in the form of a headache, or, you just don't know how. And that's very true. And then Malou says, bring in laughter. And she was saying disease, like you said. Yes. So yeah, that laughter is a great healer too. And that's all these, you're very aware with the body, and our body will lead the way. It will lead the way. And what you did, that little exercise, was very powerful in listening to your body. So that's very good awareness. So anyway, is there anything else you wanted to share besides your links, but just any more? We'll share that too. Any more wisdom?
Oh, well, we could be here for days, but I don't want to overwhelm anyone. So no, obviously, I'm very happy to answer questions from anyone. So the only thing I can't answer is how I do things, because I don't know. And how it works, I really have no idea. And I could make something up to try and impress you or try and sound cool, but that's just not how I operate. I have people all the time say, I love how trusting you are and how much you believe in Creator. And that's true. I do have absolute faith in trusting Creator. I'm also just inherently lazy, and I don't see the point in me doing lots of stuff when I can just open. It's like, why go to the well to carry water when you can turn on the tap? I'm essentially the tap. I flick a switch and Creator comes through and all the good stuff happens. I don't know how, but I don't think I need to know. And again, I think when you let go of the need to know how, again, that opens up so much of your energy in your space. And I would say to people, have you ever been on an aeroplane? Yes. Can you tell me exactly how it works? Can you tell me how that big heavy thing stays in the sky without falling down? And most of us can't, but you still get on the airplane because you want to get off at the beach on the other end, right?
That is so funny, but that is so true. And you got, anyway, yeah, that's very, very true. You're a wealth of knowledge. I love it. And
I've been called a lot of things, but never that before. So thank you.
Well, write it down. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming. I want you to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. And afterwards, for all the links, what you're doing. What's your next project that you're working on?
So I started a 5-day group program yesterday. I'm going to be running that live until Saturday. If anyone wants to jump in at any point this week, they're welcome to do that. After Saturday, they can do it on catch up. So each evening, I do a live energy healing session. If you catch it on the replay, it's exactly the same. I have a client that's been coming to my full moon healing sessions every session for 2 years. I don't think she's ever been able to join live. She always comes on the replay. So this is to basically essentially to teach you how to tap into that intuition, to build on that self-esteem, and to learn how to love yourself and set boundaries. So that helps you balance it out. So you tip out of stress and instant trust and surrender. So I'm running that now. I said, especially with the time difference, if people jump in today, they probably won't even have missed very much. So I said, every evening I do a live healing session. When the session's ended, I then tune in to see what needs to be done next. And then I drop in a task for people to do, which is designed to trigger you, to make you uncomfortable, and to bring up all your resistance. Because when all that rises up, it's much easier to find it and clear it. And then that's what I do in the healing sessions. You can come join my Facebook community where you get lots more of my unique brand of madness and magic and wonder. And yeah, it's a very, very safe space. My members are amazing. They're incredibly loving and kind and supportive to each other. You can ask anything. There is never any judgment. It's a really beautiful space, and I'm very happy the way it's growing. I do weekly carpool sessions in there, usually on a Wednesday, but there won't be one today. I offer private card reading. Now, I don't predict the future as such. I have my own personal thing with that. For me, it feels a bit too much like playing God, and there are too many variables. What I do offer are card sessions to help give you guidance and clarity on a particular situation that you need help with. And you can book private sessions with me, and I offer a minimum of 6 sessions, because I think anything less than that, you're really just scraping the surface. It's like putting a Band-Aid on, and I'm not able to serve you to the extent that I want to. And you walk away thinking, well, it was okay, but it didn't do much. I think one session, it's like that. It's like one taking one antibiotic of a 6-week course and going, well, that didn't do anything.
That makes sense.
And you can just come find me on Facebook. I am literally the only Julie Lachtay in the world. It's not a real name. Dad made it up. So I'm very easy to find.
Well, great. What's the name of your Facebook group?
Oh, here she goes, putting me on the spot. It's, I know this, I'm very professional. It's Stress Relief for Overwhelmed Spiritual Women.
Okay, got it. Stress relief for overwhelmed spirit. It's a tongue twister.
The idea that it's basically, it does what it says on the tin. So you can look at it and say, oh yeah, that's what it does.
Great. All right. Well, this has been a wonderful and very informative conversation. And you're really allowing the universe to open up. So thank you for being this great example and for having, sharing your story. And you'll have to come back again. I would love to hear more. We'll give it like a 6 months to a year and see what's shifted and what the next story will be.
And who knows where we'll be then.
Right.
So, one of my favorite questions to always ask, I end everything with, is how does it get any better than that?
That's a great question. Yes. Well, thank you so much. And thanks everyone for watching.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't see all the comments. As I was
That's okay. We'll go back and comment on them. All righty.
Well, I will send you the link to the meditation.
Definitely. Put all your links in. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.